I found the building. God showed me in a prophetic dream. Okay, first, let me show you the drawing of what I saw in my dream a couple months ago. And now, here's one of the very first images that pops up when you search the United Nations building on Google. Now, here's the drawing that I did of the top floor of this building from my dream. And here's what the main room in the UN looks like. So God has blessed me with several end times rapture dreams between around maybe November of 2023 to February of this year. And in February, he showed me a dream, a building in New York City that I thought had 13 floors. It appeared to have a different kind of church on each of the 13 floors that I visited. The room on the top floor was very eerie and unsettling. The atmosphere was very dark, and the room was round and had what I thought had 3 tables in the center, but comparing to the real thing, I can see how it almost looks like that. I mean, it depends how you look at it. It may or may not. Just look at the pictures. But I didn't know why, and it almost felt too random, but I had dreamt it. I still have the video up if you want to go back to February. It's called the 13 Churches Dream, I believe. Just check that out for more context, so you know I'm not making this up or whatever, but it felt kind of random at the time, but I had dreamt that in the center was the Pope signing something, and whatever it was really bad. I'm like almost certain it has to be the 7-year peace treaty. I'm not sure what else it could be. Obviously that's very, very biblical if you weren't familiar. I did some research last night and found that the Pope's really like the UN apparently, and also the Pope is like trying to do stuff with peace, and of course the Bible says sorry. And of course the Bible says, "For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." Which means when the leaders of the world in the last days are calling out for peace and safety, we know that the rapture and tribulation are very, very near. I mean, it literally words it as sudden. And another important detail is that this dream was like a month and a half or so before the previous pope died, and immediately was replaced only like, I think 2 days later, which I believe normally takes way longer than that, at least like weeks or so, right? I don't even know if it had been all over the news that the last pope was like very sick at the time when I had dreamt this. So like, I didn't know anything big would happen with the pope anytime soon. This just randomly happened in my dream. So, but within these last couple weeks, the pieces to this dream that I had in February, which first seemed very random and may not even mean anything, are all quickly starting to make way too much sense. So I dreamt that, having no idea what to really do with that information other than tell people, but I knew in my heart that it was from God. And for the life of me, I had no idea what building it was, and I didn't even know if a building like that even existed. A friend of mine on here, Hope Heals, told me that she had seen that building before, but unfortunately she didn't know what building it was. So for the last couple months, I just didn't know what it was. But according to her, when I of course believe her, that it must be a real building because she recognized it. And randomly last night, I was on YouTube and I saw the thumbnail. It stuck out to me for this YouTube video, a video talking about a lot of crazy end time stuff that's all happening right now. Definitely want you guys to check that out. Very good stuff. But yeah, the video's crazy. It's unreal what's going on. But anyways, I looked at that picture in the thumbnail and was like, you know, it showed this room, and I'm like, why does that look so familiar? Wait, that kind of looks a bit like my dream. And the more I looked at it, I quickly realized, like, it's actually literally identical to my dream. Like, yeah, maybe there's like a couple small, very minor differences, but like, of course, no one is able to remember every tiny detail especially like the very minor, unimportant details from their dreams, you know. So, but I know for a fact that this is literally the exact room that God showed me in February. And until now, I had no idea if this place even actually existed or what it was. When I dreamt this, I had no idea there even was a UN building in New York City. And in my dream, it very specifically was in New York City. So, after seeing that thumbnail, I was watching the video and they included a picture of the outside of the building, although I'm not sure if it's the picture there was in New York or if it was a different building. It looked slightly different than the pictures I saw on Google. I'm not really sure. But I will say that, at least in that picture, the building is more than 13 stories. But if you look at it, the design of the outside shows like sections of floors, if that makes sense. In the very top section of floors, I counted them, and from what I can tell, it looks like it's literally 13 floors. And of course, in my dream, it was like 13 floor building. At least that's what I thought, like 13 churches or whatever. So I don't know exactly what to do with that, but there may be something there. So I Googled what the UN building looks like, and I was looking through a couple of them, and pretty quickly, one of the very first pictures I found, this one right here in particular, was the exact angle and everything from my drawing a couple months ago. Like, you can't make this up. Like, look at the side by side comparisons of these. Like, I didn't even know these places existed, and I only drew them from what I saw in my dreams. And only just now, a couple months later, am figuring out what these are. The picture of the building even has the roads and cars in the exact same spot, with the skyscrapers in the same spot behind it. Like, and another wild detail is that in my drawing, I was just trying to show how there were different churches on each floor, so I drew it as if you could see through it. And while it wasn't intentional, even the gaps on the outside of the building to separate each floor ended up just looking like the real thing. I don't even know if I saw that detail in my dream, but I still drew it like that. And that's what it actually looks like. In my drawing was only meant to show the first four floors, as that would have been a lot harder to draw all 13, and I wouldn't have easily been able to show as much detail. So I just simplified it. But somehow this simplified version of what I drew um, ended up being more accurate than if I would have drew it differently, if that makes sense. I don't even know how to fully articulate, put all this into words. So I hope this makes some sense to you guys. But I'm just here to tell you that Jesus is very real, and the Pope will be signing something very bad in the UN building in New York City very soon. Um, that's what he showed me in my dream, and when I found these pictures, I was in total shock, and I still am. Some of you aren't ready. Jesus is almost here. Get right with God today. Please, I am running out of time to keep warning you. Oh, and in my drawing, that's supposed to be a UFO behind him, which was kind of random, and I couldn't remember if that was actually a UFO behind him in my dream or not after I woke up. However, it does look kind of similar to that big round logo thing on the wall behind them. Also, a specific detail from my dream that I didn't include in the drawing of the room is that I'm pretty sure the chairs were also split up in sections, pretty much just like how they are in the actual room, from what I can remember. And I want to say they even had those little desks in front of them, too. Also, I just want to note that my drawing was meant to show some kind of stage behind them with red curtains, and while that's not really present from what I can tell in the real room, somehow the detail of the curtains in my drawing is still really similar to the detail of the wall there. And with it being a couple months ago and it being such a minor detail, I can't remember if that small building in front of in the real photo was there in my dream. I honestly kind of think I'm pretty sure it was there, but I can't really remember for sure. I know I was talking fast, and I just had so much that I wanted to say, and I'm almost out of time for this video. So, yeah, do with that as you will. Jesus is coming back so soon. I hope this blessed someone. God bless you guys. Peace.